Hi. This is my third take on this particular video because first one I couldn't seem to get a coherent sentence out, and in the second one a piece of my hair was like plastered across the front of my forehead and it was distracting. So I decided to remake this. I have my list, so bear with me. Last night, I have three things to tell you about, and they all kind of go together. One is a story I read last night called The Turn of the Screw by Henry James. The second is that my apartment is haunted, and the third is that I had a nightmare. So the first one, the story, Turn of the Screw, is about a governess who is hired by an uncle who you never meet in the story because he's off in the city and they're out in the country. She's hired to watch two children that are fairly young. She thinks they're wonderful, and then she sees a man looking in the window, and she sees a figure up in a tower somewhere on the property. And then she notices a woman, and she finally asks one of the other, I think the housekeeper, she asks her if she knows about these people, and the housekeeper says no. But then she gives a physical description, and the woman is like, oh my gosh, that's the driver from the property and the governess before the current one that's telling the story. And she's like, oh my gosh, that's insane. And then the housekeeper is like, and they're dead, so you shouldn't be seeing them. So then it's kind of like, wow, she's seeing ghosts. But then the creepiest part of the story to me, besides the ending, was the part where she realizes that the children are not only like aware that these ghosts are here, but they are like seeking the ghosts out because I guess they had relationships with them while these people were alive. And so, but the kids never mention these people. And so she's like creeped out. She's like starts getting really paranoid and like spying on the kids and like doing all this stuff. And then, what happens? I guess there's like a couple scenes of like sort of confrontation where like she finally does have it out with the kids and like something happens with the little girl, but then the ending has more to do with the little boy, and it is so, I thought it was totally creepy. And you're left wondering, is it that there are actually ghosts and like this like evil force is present, or is the governess like going crazy? Like she's like overbearing and like very protective, and then that I think kind of makes her a little bit paranoid, and then she's like talking about how she's the only one that can save the kids, but she ends up screwing everything up. And so it's really interesting. It kind of reminded me of The Yellow Wallpaper, like the same sort of story where there's a woman really stressed out, going crazy, and then there's a shocking ending where you're like, oh my gosh. Okay, so then the second part, my apartment is haunted. I think that the ghost here is pretty harmless. Whoever it is, they really like ramen, because several times I've heard a rustling in my kitchen cabinet, and I've been scared because I thought it's going to be a huge cockroach or some rat or something. And if I open the door, the ramen packages that are stacked on my counter will be like slowly shifting and just making a crinkling noise, but that's it, and nothing, the unseen hand. And also my orange sweater has disappeared, which I could see why a ghost would be attracted to that sweater. I can't explain it, but it makes sense. So, more updates on that as they come. Oh, and I get the distinct feeling somebody was watering the plants before I got here, and well after, the last girl left. Take that as you will. And third part, my nightmare last night was actually the exact scene of the ending of Turn of the Screw, except it took place in my apartment. And I won't give it away in case you want to read it, but I live on the 13th floor of my building, which makes the ending of that story infinitely creepier. Let's see. I did want to tell you about this can of coffee that I bought yesterday after Korean lessons, which were excellent. It's Maxwell House Original, and it was pretty bad. It's really watery, tastes mostly of sugar, but the surprising thing, first of all, the cost. How much do you think this cost? Cost 50 cents. Seems really cheap to me. But also, it was hot when it came out of the machine. So, I've never had a canned hot beverage before. It was really interesting. Second, here's the pamphlet for the Andy Warhol exhibit that I didn't go to see today because I found out that it's a special exhibit and not part of free admission day. So I figured, why go today if I want to go to this exhibit eventually anyway? I'll just pay the $12 and go at a less busy time, I think, probably during the week. But I'm excited to see it. I think that some of his stuff from before he was famous is going to be really intriguing because, well, to be honest, I'm sick